Back with another live stream. I am set to hit the field with the Army Reserves here, the unit I'm with, and well, I'm not going to obviously disclose where we're going because that could be, like you just never know. It's supposed to be a private thing, but we're going to be gone for 2 weeks, 14 days, and it's going to be a rough one. It's going to be pretty humid. I'm told no showers, and I've only got so many uniforms to wear, so it's going to be an experience to say the least. Basically, just taking out a bunch of trees, I think, is the objective here. So I'm over here drinking this Fanta, and I want to let you know that in Europe, Fanta tastes much different than it does here in the United States because they don't put all the artificial ingredients in it. But RFK Jr. is working on getting a lot of those harmful added ingredients out of our soft drinks and stuff like that here in the United States. Okay, so let's get into what the main topic of this video is about. And we're talking obviously about Gretchen Fleming, Preston Pierce, and the connection. So on the last live stream, we talked about El Hajj Tariq-Bey. And if you go down in Friday Night Frights on our channel, and you'll see the thumbnail picture, it shows that he put on his Facebook, it says, "Is this potato salad?" And it's got a picture of him sitting beside Gretchen Fleming, dated back to August 14th of 2018, when she was still alive. That would have been roughly 4 years before she came up missing from Parkersburg, West Virginia. Now, is this potato salad? I did look it up. That is a sex term. It's a catchphrase, generally meaning, can I have sex? Now you got to ask the question: what is this man, this big hulking man, doing, wanting to have sex with little Gretchen Fleming, who's 110 pounds and considerably younger? She was 6 years younger than him, so it's not like it's a wide disparity. It's not like it's pedophilia. I mean, she was of age, but you got to ask the question, why would these two be hooking up for friends with benefit stuff? So it makes no sense. Now, I'm not going to 100% say that's what happened, but that's what it looks like. I mean, you're putting a catchphrase of, "Is this potato salad?" and then you delete the picture off your Facebook profile after the fact. That pretty much tells me that's what it was about. Now, there's a lot that's been happening since, okay? And it's my job to kind of report to you guys everything that's gone on. So this man, El Hajj Tariq-Bey, right after Gretchen comes up missing, maybe 2 weeks, reported on his Facebook that the bar, My Way, which was called My Way at the time, they were, what's up, Kit Kat? Hi back to you. Thanks for tuning in. Appreciate it. But yeah, the bar My Way in Parkersburg, West Virginia, that's where Gretchen came up missing. Now, the bar owners would say that she didn't come up missing from our bar. She came up missing from Preston Pierce's vehicle. Well, he would put on his Facebook, El Hajj Tariq-Bey, that basically the bar owners were trying to, basically, what's the term for it? Not attack them, but press charges, basically, on people who were asking questions about them being involved in Gretchen's disappearance. Or put a restraining order on them. That's the term I was looking for. They were trying to issue restraining orders on people who were asking questions about Gretchen Fleming's involvement of her disappearance from the My Way Lounge and Tavern in Parkersburg. Why would they do that? We already know the police had authorized them to sign off on NDAs, including the DJ. He had to fly back from Florida. They all signed off on an NDA, a non-disclosure agreement, which basically just means you can't talk about the crime. Okay, so... Oh, okay. Nick, somebody's got a birthday. I just want to say happy birthday to Nick. So thanks for tuning in, guys. Thanks for subscribing and all you do here to support our true crime efforts. But basically, there's a lot going on. So he had put that on his Facebook, basically, which is good. But I told you guys that there's some high suspicion with the bar. I mean, that pipe busted the same day that Gretchen came up missing, and you had crap all over the basement floor, okay? So, yeah, there's that. Now, the connection, and I put this in the title of the thumbnail, is basically there's a connection between El Hajj Tariq-Bey on his friends list, Jennifer Bartlett. So Jennifer Bartlett is the current girlfriend of Shane Weigel. And if you missed our last live stream, Shane Weigel is one of the guys who's living down at Karen Blair's house. Karen Blair lives on Broadway Avenue in Parkersburg, and the cops were down there yet again tonight. Nobody seems to be getting arrested, but the cops keep coming down into the back shed where the people are on drugs, things keep coming up missing. Drugs are being dealt out of there. Neighbors have seen it, they've reported on it, possible prostitution as well. And it seems like Karen Blair might be even allowing some of this. I don't think she's behind any of it. I reported previously that she had $60,000 taken from her by a man by the name of John Lyons, who married her, I believe, October last year, and moved from Salem, West Virginia to Parkersburg, West Virginia. So there's a lot going on there too. But you ask, why am I bringing this up? Well, there appears to be a connection because Shane Weigel is currently dating Jennifer Bartlett. And you ask, who is Jennifer Bartlett? Well, Jennifer Bartlett is a former girlfriend of Preston Pierce, and it appears that she had one of his children by the name of Easton. And we did find a picture of that too, of the kid and everything. I'm not going to put him out here because you want to protect minors and all that. But we're also finding that Jennifer Bartlett is on the friends list of El Haj Tariq-Bey. Okay, so you got to ask the question, what is Gretchen Fleming even doing with this man, El Haj Tariq-Bey, who I think, otherwise his real name I think is Richard Green on his Facebook profile? How did they get hooked up? Well, my assumption was that they met at the Raleigh Times Bar out in Raleigh, North Carolina, when Gretchen was going to school out there in 2018 to 2020 possibly. But I think there's more than just them meeting at a bar, because what are the odds that this guy has like 300 friends or whatever it is, and one of them just happens to be Jennifer Bartlett, who is a former girlfriend of Preston Pierce, and who happens to be dating somebody with all this crap going on in Parkersburg now? It shouldn't be that small of a world. I mean, you're beginning to see some of the connections here. Now, one important thing I want to tell you guys is I said that I was calling the FBI on this case. I immediately called them after my live stream, and somebody goes, I'm going to donate $1,000. I appreciate that. It's definitely needed. But I called the FBI on this case right after my last live stream. We'll get this. So I was disconnected 3 times. You know what that means, right? Basically, my number's been flagged by the FBI. Well, I told you guys I called them about 2 years ago. I think it was July of 2023, after 6 months after Gretchen came up missing, and I told them everything I knew on the case. And they told me at the time, they said that, I don't think we're going to help you with this case. If you think there's corruption with your police force, you need to report it to the state attorney general, which I've never done. I should have, but I just never did. Well, there's another thing going on. If you guys have caught this on Instagram and TikTok, where Cochise County, Arizona, there was this young man and woman. They were recently married, and right after they got married, they moved from Washington State out to Cochise County, Arizona. Well, he went in his backyard and explored a little bit past his property, and he finds in the desert there in Cochise County, Arizona, is a little pond. Well, there's kids' backpacks out there. I've been meaning to put this on the channel, and he's been asking the question. He got the heebie-jeebies. He said, why are there kids' backpacks randomly in this pond out in Arizona? And some people would comment, maybe it's border jumpers and stuff like this, but it doesn't, to me, seem like that's the case. Well, he contacted the Cochise County Sheriff's Department, and they wouldn't do anything. They blew him off. And he was asking the questions. Well, there's backpacks, there's a boot, there's other kids' clothing out here. Why are you not looking into this? Seems like a really big deal. Well, he calls the FBI. This man does, and his number was flagged. He couldn't get through. It was immediately disconnected. So when I called right after the FBI and the Parkersburg Police Department put out a hit asking for the public's information, why was my number flagged for disconnect 3 times? I called twice. It was disconnected. I changed the number, and I went and called different number, Pittsburgh field office. I got a very polite woman. She answered the phone. She says, no problem. I'll transfer you to the Gretchen Fleming tip line. She transfers me, and immediately it's a disconnect. I can't get through to anybody. So that tells me I'm having the same issues that guy out in Cochise County, Arizona is having, and we're getting automatically disconnected. Why are we flagged? Why are the police telling the FBI to flag our numbers? It's bullshit. All we want is the truth. But it seems like the powers that be aren't really doing anything. And if they're coming out here and saying, hey, we want information, but if people are trying and my number's been flagged, there's one simple trick to beat this. All I have to do is call from somebody else's phone, and they're going to get my information. Will they entertain it? I don't know. I thought about recording that and putting it out there so everybody can, see that I'm not full of crap here and I'm telling the truth on it. But I really did call 3 times, even a different number, and it was the same thing. So you've got all that right now. I told you about the secret tunnel that was reportedly right down. A neighbor was telling me that there's a secret tunnel that's right by Preston's former house on Division Street Extended, and that he was only there for maybe 2 to 3 weeks or something. So that tells me that this has probably all been planned. He was in that secret tunnel at night years ago, and one of the residents down in that area caught him down there. And she said, "What are you doing down here?" And he said, "Oh, I'm just chasing cats." She said, "Get out of there, weirdo." And that's all I heard about it. But yeah, there's a lot going on. So I haven't made it to the secret tunnel yet. I've been meaning to. My work schedule's really brutal. I work nights. I sleep most of the days. You locals here will know we've been getting rain nonstop. We had one sunny day on Memorial Day. That was about it. It's been raining ever since, so I can't get out in the garden, do anything there. I'm trying to get all this research done. I just don't have a lot of time, but just know that the key here with that El Haj Tariq-Bey's profile, if you look it up on Facebook, out of Raleigh, North Carolina, you can even find that original picture, but I don't think you can find it on his profile. You can just find that he posted it before. You'll see that if his friends list is still public, there will be a woman by the name of Jennifer Bartlett on there. She's from Marietta, Ohio. That used to be Preston's girlfriend who had his child by the name of Easton. And he did confirm that with me, about 2 years ago. He said he had a kid named Easton. And there's even a GoFundMe for it, too. Said he was born prematurely. So there is a lot going on with that right now. With me not being able to get through the FBI, that tells me that there's a lot going on. Now, there's a little more that we did find out before I wrap this video up. There was, Preston had on his profile Caleb Black. It was one of his fake profiles he was doing out of the hundreds that he's probably created. Supposedly for one of his sons that died, I guess. He had a picture of 4 full moons on it. And we asked, is this witchcraft? Well, when I was doing some research on the El Haj Tariq-Bey and Gretchen's Instagram, if you go to Gretchen and then it's got like 4 underscores after her name, you'll find her profile. And if you go back to that picture I'm talking about, she posted it on her Instagram too, August 14th of 2018. If you click that picture, it brings you to this other profile. And it said like Maoism, lesbianism, something like that. We know that Gretchen was a liberal and she was into that stuff. She was going for political justice out in North Carolina. But it just makes me wonder, like, some of the people that she was hanging around with, because she said that, oh, this account is spewing a lot of hatred in regards to the is this potato salad picture. It didn't say is this potato salad on Gretchen's picture. It said it on El Haj Tariq-Bey's Facebook post. Okay? So he was probably trying to hide that from her. She didn't know it. Gretchen didn't. But she did say this woman's spewing a lot of hatred. Well, that woman had lesbianism, Maoism, Marxism on there. I mean, we've seen Marxism associated with Kamala Harris's dad, who is from Jamaica, is a Marxist. You don't hear about it a lot, but why is it coming up here in this case? Well, I got to digging on that profile. It said this is an old account for another account, and I opened that one, and it had a picture of a full moon. It was a woman, apparently the one that was probably spewing hatred in response to that picture, and she looked like she was eating a popsicle stick, and it had a full moon picture on it. Now, that might not mean a lot to you, but why are full moons coming up repeatedly in this case? If you begin to untangle the web and you look at the fact that El Haj Tariq-Bey has Preston's former girlfriend on his friends list, and he's out in Raleigh, North Carolina, you have to understand that Preston Pierce was living in Eastover, North Carolina. That's right by where Fort Bragg, the Army base, was in North Carolina. Fort Bragg's name has now been repurposed to something else. I don't know what they call it now. But it's a suburb of Fort Bragg, North Carolina, okay? So, somebody asked, do I do song requests? Well, I'm not the best of singers. I can sing just a bit, but no, I don't. But thanks for asking. But yeah, there's, like I said, Preston was living in Eastover, and he was living there at the same time as Gretchen was living in Raleigh, North Carolina. Well, Gretchen moved back to Parkersburg in June of 2022, okay? Preston moved back to West Virginia from North Carolina about the same time, okay? So I don't know if I can pin it down to the exact month if it was June, but it just seems to me, I can almost guarantee you, that this man had a connection with Gretchen long before any of us ever knew it. Now, she's not here to speak on it. Her father's not here to speak on it. Her grandmother's not here to speak on it. So it means we have to work all the harder to try to dig up some of these connections, okay? Like I said, check out that profile, El Haj Tariq-Bey. You're gonna find something. As long as that friends list is still public, you'll see Jennifer Bartlett on there, okay? There should be no reason he should have her as a friend on his account. That tells you right there that he is connected to Preston Pierce, okay? Lalo Moreno, hello from Mexico. Hi back. But yeah, so there's that going on, and it's a lot. There's one more thing that I want to update you on. So we got some inside information from a woman here in Parkersburg, and she went to the police with this information, and they did nothing with it. And she said, hey, Gretchen was seen crying the night she came up abducted in a car at Sheets. And she said people were walking past her, not doing anything. They didn't know what to do. This is information that's never been released before. Okay, so I'm assuming that's when she was still with Preston Pierce. Well, nobody was helping her, right? So if she's crying in Preston's car out at the Sheets gas station, that tells you she already knows that she's being abducted, she's in danger. But you have to understand, patrons at the My Way Lounge already said that she came in extremely intoxicated. She was so drunk that she was very belligerently loud. They said she was having trouble walking. She entered with one man by the name of John Jason Pape, whose story has already changed, by the way, as he's used proxies. And she left with another man who happened to be Preston Pierce. We know that already. Okay? And then Jason Pape, brings her stuff back to the original bar, which was the front row out on Emerson Avenue. And doesn't say anything about it for 7 days. So, lots going on. But if she's crying in a vehicle with Preston Pierce and nobody's doing anything about it because they're scared, they don't know what to do, they're not sure maybe, that tells you that something's going on. Now, that woman who gave information, okay, I'm not releasing her name. It's not her real name. She goes on an undercover name because she wants to protect herself. But she also said that there was a report that there was a black man, a tall black man from Columbus, Ohio. Now, you guys understand that Columbus, Ohio is one of the drug pipelines that comes down to Parkersburg, okay? They had, supposedly, according to this woman, this is information that hasn't been released yet, they supposedly, this tall black man and another man, I don't know who else it was, had Gretchen in an apartment complex out by, you know where, well, you locals will know, Rosemar and Emerson connect. That's where we did a previous story about Pins and Needles, that tattoo parlor. Now, that tattoo parlor has nothing to do with this story and Gretchen, but it's the same building, the same complex. Apparently, there are apartments up on top, okay? And apparently, it was cited by somebody in this community that Gretchen was drugged out of her mind, couldn't react to anything, and she was up in those apartments crying, and they said that she was probably being passed around from one man to the next, okay? That's what this one woman is telling me. Is it true? I don't know. I haven't been able to confirm it, and she's trying to confirm it too. But she thinks that that one tall black man, there's like a connection. So was Preston passing her around? Somebody put Under Armour. Yeah, I got an Under Armour shirt on. But was Gretchen passed around? Well, that seems to be the case. I kind of said that all along because if you hearken back to Preston's original story, he said he dropped her off at an intersection by the police station. Preston does have a history of alleged rape. We know that. But, you know, did he rape and accidentally murder her? A lot of people have said, well, they didn't think that he could murder somebody. But, you know, with the four full moons on his profile, the full moon on the popsicle stick from the Gretchen Instagram account that it's linked to, the one that's spewing hatred on that picture, it did come up another time too. Maybe there's nothing to it. I don't know. But the fact that we're getting this report that there was a tall black man reportedly seen with Gretchen Fleming in the apartment complex out at the corner of Rosemar and Emerson. There's a few businesses out there. I can't remember all the businesses that are there. I know that tattoo parlor is one of them. There's a wood crafting business right across the street. So you guys kind of know where I'm talking about, and a gas station right there. But now there's another black man from Columbus, Ohio, and I'm going to have to show it to you. I might do another video to kind of show you who I'm talking about, because this is where it's really getting good, and we're really starting to untangle some of this web. There's another tall black man that said on his Facebook that Gretchen was definitely murdered. by Preston Pierce. He's saying that. I don't know if it's true. It could be misdirection. I'm wondering because if that black man is the same black man who was dealing drugs and had Gretchen drugged out of her mind from Columbus, Ohio, because this black man who's commenting this is from Columbus, Ohio. I don't know if it's the same guy or not. I'm going to have to go back and get his name because I've got the screenshot of it for you. But he's saying that Preston definitely murdered her and buried her out in Ravenswood, which is where he's from. That's what this black man's saying. Is it the same guy? I don't know. I don't know. That's what I'm going to try to find out for you guys. But he is alleging that Preston Pierce murdered her and buried her out in Ravenswood. Well, if you watch the documentary, the police, the Parkersburg police, they put on there that they went to Ravenswood and spent $15,000 to drill out an oil well because they really thought that she would be out there. And they said nothing came of it. So maybe the police early on had knowledge that maybe Gretchen would have been buried out in Ravenswood. I don't know. But that's where Preston's originally from. That's where he grew up. And originally, I think that's where his name came from. He grew up on Preston Street, and his mother's maiden name really was Pierce. You can see it on her tombstone. So I think that's where the name came from. But is she buried out in Ravenswood? Well, that's what this black man's alleging. Is he the one who had her drugged out of her mind? I don't know. But we looked up his sister, and his sister's also a singer, like Gretchen was. And it comes out that the sister of this black guy was talking about Gretchen singing, and we're starting to wonder, is there some jealousy there? I don't know. Between that black man's sister from Columbus, Ohio, and Gretchen Fleming. I didn't realize Gretchen really was a singer. Like, we knew about it. We talked about it. I thought it was just a hobby. I didn't think there was much to it. I thought maybe she was a songwriter more than a singer. But apparently she was actually singing some songs and starting to get a little bit of acclaim for it. How much, I don't know. But this sister of this big black guy has this really, really weird music video, and I promise you, I'm going to put it out there for you. I'm going to make a video right after this, before I go to bed. I got to wake up really early here in a few hours, because we are leaving for 14 days, but this is important stuff, and I wanted to tell you guys about it. I've been sitting on it for about 2 weeks now. I just haven't had time to do any more research on it. So, but that's what I got for you guys. I appreciate you guys who have tuned in to our live stream. I'm reading some of your comments now, but thanks as always for being here, trying to catch up with a lot of it. So that's the latest that we've got. Remember, Jennifer Bartlett, Marietta, Ohio, on the friends list of El Haj Tariq-Bey. The 4 full moons, another full moon on the Instagram related to Gretchen. Look up Gretch with underscores on Instagram. You'll know what I'm talking about. Go to August 14th of 2018. Look up that picture. This is easy research. And then I'm going to do the additional research for you guys and show you this tall black man from Columbus, Ohio, who may possibly have been the one who had her drugged out of her mind as she was being passed around from man to man. We don't know that. That's just hearsay right now. That's what this woman is alleging, but she went to Parkersburg police about it, and they didn't do anything. So I'm getting real tired of the police not really doing anything, not regurgitating facts back to the community, but they want all the tips. Well, when you put out a thing from the FBI, when you're in conjunction with them and you're asking for information, but my number is flagged, what does that tell you? It tells you they don't really care. Okay? It's the way it is. I hate to say it, but it's the same thing at Coquise County, Arizona with the kids' backpacks in the pond. I'll try to upload that for you guys so you know what I'm talking about, okay? Pretty big stuff going on. You're either on the right side of history or you're not, and we're beginning to see what's really going on in our world. So thanks as always for tuning in, guys. Appreciate you as always. Until next time.